Thank you, Mr. President, for the recognition. And I just want to follow on the comments by my good friend, Senator Shaheen, with regard to Kay Hagan. We came in the Senate together. Senator Shaheen, we were all in that class of 2008. It was a big class. We traveled extensively with Kay Hagan. We got to know her very well, and it was really good to hear. I talked to Chip on the phone, her husband. We call him Chip, is Charles, but he told me up to the very last she was extremely busy. They were traveling around North Carolina, they were doing things, and she actually had a very special visit with Vice President Biden before she passed away. So our heart goes out to the whole family, to the 3 children, and we very much miss her, and we'll miss her a lot. We've missed her a lot in the Senate. We're going to miss her. So at another place in the record, and I'll put in a more extensive statement about Kay Hagan. I'd like to do this at another place in the record, Mr. President. I rise to oppose the Lee Amendment and efforts to undermine the Land and Water Conservation Fund. This amendment would prohibit the Department of Interior from using land and water conservation funds to acquire federal lands and waters. The underlying bill actually increases funding for the Land and Water Conservation Bill by $30 million, and it does so with deep bipartisan support from a majority of senators. And the crucial point here, this bill passed the Appropriations Committee 31-0. So this is a broadly supported program and a broadly supported bill. So I urge the Senate to send another strong message today to support the LWCF. There are many bipartisan land acquisition priorities that are funded by this bill. They include places like funds to improve access to the Aravapa Canyon in Arizona, preserve wildlife habitat in the Everglades, headwaters, and the St. Mark's refuges in Florida. I would let the presiding officer know. There is also money to protect the Palo Alto battlefield in Texas and other historic battlefield sites, as well as funds to expand the El Malapai National Monument in my home state of New Mexico. These are just a few of the projects that our constituents back home are expecting the department to fund. They would all be stopped in their tracks if this amendment were adopted. We need LWCF to establish better access for Americans to their own public lands. This program works with private landowners and willing sellers to continue to protect special places for generations to come. I know a bipartisan majority of this body understands that, and I ask my colleagues to stand with me to defeat this amendment.